So feel free to ask questions for this one, and I'll try to answer and be a bit more toward the game. It's probably not going to be sort of in between and over-explain and just sort of a regular runny. What's up, Drexos? So because we dash strike so much with the sword, getting something like Hunter Dash from Artemis makes a lot of sense, but it is risky just because if you're just trying to win, Athena's Dash is just so good for melee, right? But I'm probably comfortable enough. I would probably recommend just getting Athena's Dash if you're just trying to win, or if you're trying to beat a certain amount of heat for the first time. But I guess if you want big damage, you could do Hunter's Dash from Artemis. This is one of the few places where it's like especially good too. Like Hunter's Dash is just everything's situational, but this is like super situational. I mean, we might take a juicy attack too. Now you might be saying because you get crit chance from the aspect of Nemesis that maybe you don't want Artemis's attack, which is actually kind of good logic. But what you do really want is like the tier 2s from Artemis, namely Hunter's Mark, which will still, Hunter's Mark will still trigger onto enemies because of the crit chance from Nemesis. So you'd still kind of want it for the most part. You'd still kind of want it. All right, so if we do 32 heat sword, I think we're not going to do 32 heat. Let's do something a bit more mellow, I think. 26, yeah, sure, that's fine. Just because I want it to be like slightly challenging because it's not like too easy, but also this is not necessarily for people who are trying to beat 32 heat, I guess, you know what I mean? Try to level it out a little bit. How often should you try for doing backstabs with sword? Is the extra damage worth trying to position yourself all of the time? I'm going to be honest here. I am someone who has played this game for thousands of hours, and I pretty much do not attempt to specifically get backstabs at almost any moment. The only thing that is a good tip to know about is enemies always spawn facing the right side, so you can start to train yourself to always be on the left side of enemies so that you're always behind them. Oh boy. Oh boy. So I guess we'll explain why these are not good. So Cruel Thrust is exceptionally bad. Hal, what's up? Thanks so much for the 34 months. This is exceptionally bad. When they say thrust, they mean the third hit in your combo. They do not mean, even though the dash strike looks like a thrust, you do not get the bonus on the dash strike. Trying to build around the sword's attack combo is very difficult, actually. It's very hard to do. It's not a good archetype to go for. Flurry Slash is okay. It can kind of mess up your dash strikes. Hoarding Slash is pretty bad. It's bad. And for reasons that I've explained in other videos, but basically the bonus isn't what it looks like. You can look at some of my other like Hoarding Slash runs to find out why it's not especially good. So we're gonna go with Flurry Slash. Whether or not we actually make use of Flurry Slash, we'll just have to see, I guess you could say.
I'll destroy you.
The other thing with like Hoarding Slash is once you do it like once and it does okay, the desire to do it again is not very high because you're just so very, you're not really engaging with the game in the same way. Like you just don't take things, you just sell things and etc, etc, etc. You know what I'm saying? Do I settle for a 50% dash strike? If this is meant to be a video to guide you as to what the right decisions are, I think the answer is yes. The special is not gonna be meaningful damage, basically. Usually the special you'd want to save for like an activator if you're running like privilege status or something here. I don't know, it's not nothing, but we care more about the dash strike here. And being greedy with the rarities is not usually a good idea in general, I'd say. Doom, doo, 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 doom, doom. There was this whole Reddit thread where someone tried to claim that Artemis is the worst god or has the worst boons. Just like, oh, honey. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was just them trying to rile people up.
Charon's going to want
You know what I mean?
all this.
It's definitely a case of them trying to rile people up. Like, but I don't know how you could ever surmise that,
No chance.
Artemis's tier 2 boons, as we call them, are somehow worse than, say, Dionysus's. It's just wackadoodle. They posted it twice. Already sucks, changed my mind. Yeah, I'm not really interested in changing their mind anyway at that point. Right? Okay. What's up, Nogal? Demeter. Demeter's attack here.
Let's go sneak.
Demeter has one of the lower attack modifiers. But if the rarity's good enough, you don't pass up on it, chatties. They called Hunter's Mark the worst tier 2 in the game. It's almost strictly the best, I think. Right, Museus? I don't know. Poseidon has some good ones, I guess. Yeah, well, we're gonna take an epic attack. We don't need to greed it up. It's definitely one of. Isn't 73% good? It just, I mean, it's certainly not bad. But, like, Aphrodite could have as high as, like, 99% potentially on an epic. But is that going to happen? Probably not.
I'll take what's mine.
Isn't Demeter the worst for attack percentage? Poseidon is, interestingly. I'm pretty sure. Maybe, I don't think they're even tied or anything. I'm pretty sure Poseidon is just the worst. Do.
And my keep.
Hunter's Mark is one of the least build dependent. That's the other thing. It fits in with every build. Assuming so, because in order to get Hunter's Mark offered, you need a source of crit, whether it be from your attack, your special, your cast, or pressure points. And that's when it's going to get offered. Ooh. We don't have Underworld Customs on, but there's not a whole lot I'd want here other than a swap on the attack anyway.
It's no use. Why not?
We'll take that. Epic chill, you still take the 99%, right? Oh, I don't understand. Do you mean, So, I mean, Demeter does have better follow-up boons, potentially. Like, if you get Killing Freeze and everything. Arctic Blast is kind of just whatever. Mostly not good, I would say. I would personally still take Aphrodite, because the weak effect, I think, is just more consistent, easier to work with. They didn't like that they have to change their focus when an enemy gets marked from Hunter's Mark. But you don't. That's the thing. It kind of does its own thing. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. You don't want that. Doesn't help us. That's okay, too. We do have $405, chat. This is kind of an interesting choice. This isn't that bad as a negative. More backstab damage. 91% probably sounds like a lot, but it's actually not crazy. You have issues committing to a boon, still learning the combos? Well, feel free to ask questions. That's what we're doing the run for. So the more questions you ask, the better we can hopefully help people. Not to mention, like, there's a lot of things that I don't really think of. I would never roll here, by the way. I would never roll in this situation. You could kind of go either way here. I don't think either one is wrong. I'm gonna go ambush, though. I think a lot of times when you're trying to win if you're just trying to win a run in Hades, right? instead of thinking super advanced, super far into the future about potential boons you could get, you really got to focus on what the game offers you in the moment. You know, you could. I think you probably want to think about dual boons a bit more, but things like tier 2 boons, planning on getting them is not necessarily the best way to go about it. So, like, what dual boons do I care about in this run? And the answer is probably none, honestly, because the gods that we have just kind of don't really work for dual boons. And there's not a ton that would be crazy good. There's the whole Heartrend thing from Afro and Artemis, which is a bit overstated in terms of its usefulness. I mean, I'd take it if it was like on the docket, but I'm not going to avoid something like Demeter's Epic Attack just to try to hope that we eventually get Heartrend. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a mistake, I think, very clearly. So what do we want from Poseidon here? The cast doesn't do a whole lot. These are garbage.
What else we got?
Oh, Hydraulic Might does do something. We don't need to sell a boon. Do I care about the dual boons that we can get if we do take something like Flood Shot here? And the answer is we could get Blizzard Shot from it, but that's kind of a bad thing for the most part for what we're trying to do. I don't really want that. Could get Sweet Nectar, which is just kind of I think I'm okay with just taking a regular old Hydraulic Might. Ares Poseidon duo boon? I don't have Ares. Is Blizzard Shot actually okay? I think it's pretty bad if you don't have a cast aspect on that will increase your cast damage. You found it hard to hit with anything? I think it's more kind of like Curse of Drowning. I don't know if I'd describe it as good as much as I would describe it as fun / interesting. I don't think it equates to an easy run, but it's definitely one of the more unique runs that you can have. And then you got like the weird cast ones like Hunting Blades and Crystal Clarity.
Nice seeing you.
I don't know where I'm going there. Those are actually good. Hydraulic Might doesn't affect Dash Strike. As far as I know, it does. I don't remember ever stating that. As far as I know, Musaeus? Zyru? So let's see. What do you want for this? No, we don't really want to sell anything. Should affect it. Yeah, as far as I know, Hydraulic Might does. So there's nothing that interesting in here. But we might just take Charon's Keepsake anyway. You could take the coin purse here. You could even go straight for Acorn now. But I think something like that is really safe. If I wanted to, I could buy this.
What do I get?
You got the armor one, which actually isn't bad. Any animation canceling you do with a sword attack, special cast, or dashes? Yes. There's the, like, I always tease this one. The quote-unquote infamously special dash cancel, which is this. So you just, it's actually very easy to do, but I think when people start bringing it up, they somehow think that it's useful when it's not. So you just hit the special right into the dash like this. It's just not useful though. It looks kind of cool, right? So you special at the end of your dash. It doesn't actually cancel the animation, it just builds it into the dash is the best way I can describe it. Iron Pants, what's up? Thanks so much for the 9 months. There's a lot of things to learn and get to know about Hades, and I guess the bottom line is learning how to do the special animation cancel is definitely on the one of the lower portions of the totem pole. Let's go this way. Do 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 do. Do. Okay. Chaos Curse finally over. Y'all are probably so tempted right now. Y'all are so tempted right now. Gordon, what's up? Thank you so much for the 33 months. Y'all are being so tempted right now. Y'all probably want that side hustle so bad. And you'd be like, well, maybe not side hustle, but you definitely take greater evasion. What you need to know is that you typically only get 2 Hermes boons a run, and there are just much better and more useful ones, especially for a run like this, where extra dashes would be very, 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 very meaningful. Extra dashes means more dash strikes before you have to special, and just means more damage. And then there's the whole hyper sprint plus rush delivery combo, which is also incredibly powerful for hopefully obvious reasons. Now, there's also the aspect that taking a side hustle here, there's just like only so many boons that you need. You know, will this actually enable me to buy more boons and palms? Maybe a little bit, but it's not as important as getting the limited Hermes boons that you do get, getting the useful ones. You know what I mean? You don't like hyper sprint in the sword? I think it's all right. I mean, even like attack speed, I would take for fun here, just because we already have Flurry Slash, but only because it's fun, not because it's necessarily the right move. Okay, so I got punished. Special speed does not especially help. Special speed especially helps special. Yeah. So this is where I'm going to spend most of my rolls because the build is like semi-complete. Then I guess we're going for this. I don't think it's so bad. Too bad, nothing fun. Boom, boom, ba-dum. So Poseidon. We already got Hydraulic Might. The call's okay. It's fine. I guess I'll go for it.
Just what I need.
Yeah, I'm still gonna avoid Flood Shot. Just not super useful. Ah. Hey, how did you achieve this?
Much better. In the name of
What do we want now? Welcome, Duke. Longer duration is useless. Crush Shot is mostly useless. And in fact, it mostly just makes things annoying. If you're not doing a cast build, trying to think about how much damage your cast is doing is like just not necessary. Flood Shot would have been way better than Crush Shot also, because it actually has like a pretty juicy AoE and everything. So we're just gonna take different league. The cast is mostly going to be here for the purpose of Boiling Blood to enable higher special and attack damage. So while it does get used, I don't know. Crush Shot, that's the thing. Crush Shot, because of the limited range from it, actually just makes that a little bit more difficult to have happen. So even though we get more damage out of the cast, I care more about just the lodging effect. And I'd rather not nerf that aspect of the build. It is pretty hard to dash strike given that we have both Hyper Sprint, oh boy, and Flurry Slash. Flurry Slash actually makes it kind of harder to dash strike, is the best way I can say. Well, we've seen enough rush delivery runs that I think we can take this now, right, chat? That trial is actually a little bit tempting, but the timer is actually very low, I'd say, for us. So we're going to go this way. 5 dashes, 5 furious. Trials take longer, and there's no chance for them to be fountains. I think it's mostly Flurry Slash that is making it a bit harder to dash strike. So in that case, would it have been correct to take... What were the other options? I guess Hoarding Slash for that purpose? It could be. Yeah, it could be. Not because Hoarding Slash is better, but just so it doesn't mess things up. Do. I think we just take free health here, kind of. Bum. Fusion sword? Nope. This is me just playing Nemesis sword, explaining the thought process a bit more elaborately than I normally do. Whereas most Hades runs that we do, I'm mostly talking about like It Follows and whether things count as hobbies or not, apparently. Do. Oh yeah, and Philip K. Dick too, yeah. Come on, die, Lerny. Do. Iterate. Jesus, Lerny, you sliding, baby, you sliding. Do. But yeah, it's been a long time since we tried to explain everything. Do I have anything to say about the Lerny fight here in particular? I don't know if I really do. Lava's scary, but maybe you can run across. I mean, I'm sure like you know this as soon as you play Hades, but you can like walk across lava for a second without taking any damage. How was everything yesterday? Oh, it was fine. Just had to keep an eye on a couple wee ones for the day. We have Charon's Keepsake on, so Hydrolight's a pretty good buy, even if it's a bit overkill.
Should I take the train?
And I think we can afford to leave that on for now. Maybe we can get some attack damage. Do. Does It Follows counts as a hobby? Okay, so yeah, we definitely want the second hammer. There's probably moments. You wouldn't really know. I think I get this question a lot, like, why aren't you going for a hammer in this run or that run? Like, why are you avoiding the second hammer, etc.? It just really depends on the weapon, really depends on the aspect, really depends on the first hammer that you get. And having known all the different possible hammers that can appear, there are just some runs where I just know that, like, another hammer isn't going to be as meaningful as the other option. That probably happens a lot on the shield in particular, if I were to guess. Possibly the sword too. So Shadow Slash does not affect your dash strikes. That is one of the weird exceptions, unfortunately. It does combo with Flurry Slash in that sense, but is that what we're really doing here? Probably not. Breaching Slash does, even though there's no difference in the wording and how they say it, Breaching Slash does affect your dash strikes. So I guess we're just gonna go that way then. There's not a whole lot of boons we could actually get that's useful here. Welcome, Glass. Thank you, thank you. Doom boom boom doo doo doom boom 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 boom. So yeah, my comboner here is to, I might not be using all 5 of our dashes every time. It does require a lot of joystick movement here to try to continuously dash through enemies over and over and over. Dying Element's not a bad boon. Ooh, finally some useful stuff. With Breaching Slash, Nail of Talos sounds pretty overkill now. Breaching Slash is like plus 300%. They should mention that in hammer description. Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't think there's a ton of exceptions to it. But Shadow Slash is one of them. I can't remember. Curse Slash does not affect your dash strikes, again for unknown reasons, because it's not really made clear. It's kind of like all over the place. Boom, ba-doo-doo. Unfortunately, it's like pretty much impossible for me to cover all the weird exceptions to general rules that the game has. Epic PP is pretty much a no-brainer. No reason not to take it. So we couldn't get Hunter's Mark even though we're using Aspect of Nemesis because we didn't have a boon that from Artemis that gives us crit chance. So the game doesn't really look that we're using an aspect that gives you a crit chance in order to offer Hunter's Mark. So we're hoping to get more Artemis boons for Hunter's Mark now. Or Poseidon is actually probably not great. Neither was that though. I'm gonna skip Aphrodite because she doesn't really have a whole lot that we want here. And maybe we can get Artemis offered instead for the mini boss. I think that was the first mini boss. You saw that smirk? I don't know what you mean. I was trying to put my niece to bed while we were babysitting. And I smiled at her. She's only 2 years old. I smiled at her after we put her in the crib and start tucking her in. Hey, Artemis. Right? And she just looks at me with the most serious face. She just goes, don't laugh at me. And I'm like, I'm not laughing. She's calling me out. But she was so serious about it, you know? She was so serious about it. Yeah, am I a joke to you? Oh, come on. So if you get Asterius here for the mini boss in Elysium, you will have reduced health in the final boss for Elysium. Yes, you can kill him here, but it wouldn't do anything. We did it in the Endless run. There we go, Epic Hunter's Mark. Shazam! Shazam! Dunzo. So now we have an effective crit rate of like 34%, and then Hunter's Mark can start bouncing around and stuff like that. Now, I probably should, I feel like I should have read the description of Hunter's Mark because it's been a while since I actually read some of these boon descriptions, but it's anytime I crit, it's gonna put Hunter's Mark on something else, which then Hunter's Mark increases the crit rate of anything, the next thing that hits it, basically. I probably sounded out of my mind. Burrow, what's up? Thank you so much for the 29 months. Heard or seen. I tried it. And I like the idea, but I don't know if I had that much fun playing it, to be honest. I tried it, and eventually I decided, like, ooh, it felt like, it's hard to describe. There's a lot of games cometh, and I wasn't sold on it, I guess. I feel like I had to watch someone else play it or something.
Olympus, I accept this
Sword Part Fire's okay. With Hunter's Mark and pressure points, we kind of don't care about anything else. True Shot doesn't really do a whole lot. I would venture to say that Support Fire does more, but probably not a ton more. Arthur considered a bad weapon choice because essentially it's your main weapon. There's no bad weapon choices. A bad weapon choice is forcing yourself to play one that you don't enjoy. I don't even know if that's really the case, but... If you're trying to beat 32 heat, it seems to be fine still.
Should help keep me going.
I have a video that goes over... You see. What aspects and builds were used the most to clear 32 heat for the first time, and Arthur was pretty up there. Did I just explain why Zag Sword is bad? It just depends on the format of the question. I mean, like, is anything actually bad at clearing 0 heat? Couldn't we say? It depends on the conditions. I mean, I guess there are things that are probably going to lower your odds, I guess. Using Zag Rail, for instance, with Aphrodite's attack. You know? There's a lot of variables to Hades, so it's actually tough to answer, like, what's the best, what's the worst. Like, these things are very, very difficult to explain. It's bad if you're speedrunning. This seems to come up an inordinate amount of times, I gotta say, where for some reason, like, it happens on the subreddit too, where someone asks a question that, and they're clearly a beginner player, they're asking questions about the game, the aspects of weapons and stuff, and someone inevitably answers from a speedrunner's perspective, and I just don't really understand why we jump to that.
To my greatest fan.
I'm looking at sword weapon dash to the most. Sword parry? What the hell is sword parry? Huh.
Happy to entertain you, Shades.
Sure, I guess this time. Might be the special. Flurry slash, maybe. Acorn's fine as a defensive. You could do Acorn, you could do Skelly's Tooth, you could do Cerberus's Collar for this. There's a lot of things. Zero heat is more about ease of use, yeah. So that's why when you ask a question, when someone asks a question like, what's the best of this, what's the worst of that, you gotta kind of explain, like, for what exactly. I think you gotta clarify a little bit. Like, what's the scenario here? Just for it to have us try to answer it better. Boom, 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 boom. He's one of the few games where if a speedrunner does it, it's probably good. I kind of paraphrased your answer there, Nemesis. Yeah, that is true. I guess I was a little frustrated to see, like, the whole Chiron is a bad weapon aspect because it hasn't cleared sub 6 in the modded speedrun category. To say that I was frustrated to hear people say something like that is beyond reasonable, I think. I mean, sorry, it is beyond question that I was frustrated to read something like that. What did I get? Centaur Soul, interesting. Boom, 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 no, 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 boom.
Meg, help.
No problem.
I owe you one. The power of the gods.
+3 on that bad boy. How to increase odds of getting a specific boon? By skipping Aphra's when you got Artemis in the next chamber. So yeah, when it comes to mini bosses, you should know that Tartarus Asphodel, you will always be offered 3 mini boss chambers. Elysium has 2. For each different possible mini boss in those biomes. So by skipping the first one you're being offered, you might be offered a different god of the next door. Not guaranteed, but it can happen. So there's a lot of, like, really small technical things, and catering which gods you actually pick up can make a big difference. Is it necessary for just getting through the game for the first few heat? Nah.
Not fast this time.
Breaking Wave is not very useful. There's not a whole lot of useful stuff we could get from Poseidon here, I'd say. Maybe the money from Sunken Treasure is actually the best? I'm not certain what's in the shop. I could have paid attention to it. Boom. So our hammers are pretty bad. Well, Flurry Slash is bad. Breaching is whatever. But breaching kind of doesn't matter for the Hades fight all that much. So I don't think the anvil is actually horrible here. Although the anvil is probably one of the worst. Sorry, the sword is the worst for the anvil probably because of Cursed Slash, unfortunately. It probably wouldn't lose us the run, but it wouldn't be good. There's also Dash Nova, which is just horrendous. So for the sake of, like, is this the right thing to do if you were playing the game and you were in the exact position I am? Definitely not. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not that Cursed Slash is, like, so bad that you'd never want to take it, but I don't know. So Cursed Slash with Flurry Slash would be interesting. That's actually a pretty good combo. It's a legitimate combo. I think for fun, like if I was advising a player right now and I wasn't the one playing, would I say to take this anvil? I don't think so. I think I'd say no.
The old Daedalus surprise.
Yeah, those are pretty bad.
Cheers, mate.
Hey, look at that. Fully, sorry, what did we get? Fully loaded doesn't do anything. We got double Nova in Shadow Slash. Shadow Slash not affected by your dash strikes. I also lost Breaching Slash instead of Flurry Slash. And I got double Nova for the special, so it's pretty useless, basically. First Slash 2 returns health on a regular attack.
Nice night, no?
Is there a build you would suggest for not caring about getting hit, but not still fun? I guess I don't understand the question totally. Yeah, you also lose max health, which is pretty bad. How though, dude? Can you stop throwing the scullies at me? Man, he's just loving it right now, isn't he? Eurydice already down, or rather Acorn. Breaking double Nova. Sword special builds are doable, but kind of rough. There's no good aspect for them is part of the problem. I mean, I guess technically Poseidon's sword in a way, but not much of a way.
Awaken wretches and fight once more upon the surface realm where you were slain.
You don't usually want to build up a full call for any god except for Aphrodite and Artemis. You do get like a bonus for building up a full call, but it's not as useful as using it individually often, especially since you can use them individually to try to avoid some damage.
Let's finish this.
Explain not taking Orange Boon. Y'all would totally take it, wouldn't you? I know the truth. Don't lie. How could you get me with that? We don't need to care about the healing pots in this instance. That's a really good spot to hide from Cerberus. The red circles don't usually, like, they kind of avoid going too close to the edge, the red circles from Cerberus. That's why you'd want to do that. Top left is also decent for that reason, too. Come on, bro. How do you keep the dash strike so tight? You mean, like, in terms of where we're landing the dash strikes? Rotating my joystick, like, literally back and forth, like rocking it left and right, usually. But I'm not great at it. Could be better. Did I Meg?
Hey, Meg.
I did not. Don't miss, Meg. Aww. Whew. That's it? You seem to miss when you try that? I don't know. That might come down to just doing it over and over and over again, honestly. Yay! We did it! That's the sword, baby. That's the sword. Hey, Blaze.
In the name of Hades.
No title? Scammed. Obviously, the attack was big. Hunter's Dash, it definitely helped to deliver some damage. We'll look at the DPS meter. You're not going to be able to measure something like Hunter's Mark necessarily, though. Shadow Slash didn't really do anything. We did get backstab damage from there. I wonder how like something like Support Fire did. I don't know. Let's take a look. Artemis Legendary is actually what Support Fire is if you look at the DPS meter. So I'm gonna guess that the sword parry... I'm gonna guess that's the special, but I actually don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like it has to be the special. Poseidon was third. Stygian Blade? I don't know. Ranged weapon is the cast. Huh. Interesting.